morning, Highlanders. What a surprise and what a perfect timing. An old book shows me a map of Forgotten Island that I'm currently heading towards. To be more precise, I'm on the bridge that leads to the Isle of Skye. And on this island, I will show you the incredible story of the forgotten island of St. Columba. But before we get there, let me tell you a little bit about the Isle of Skye. Because it is home to an island called Elin Chile in Gaelic. The Isle of Skye is located on the northwest coast of Scotland and translates as Islands of Mists. Like many other names in this area, it is the rivers from the Old Norse, thanks to the Viking from the Norway who ruled these lands a long time ago. Imagine that it was in these waters, through this loch called Loch Cairdig, the mighty Drakkars spread the terror among the local tribes at the turn of 8th and 10th century. However, before that happened, missionaries and monks arrived on this island much earlier, as early as the 6th century. They sailed on the small boats from Ireland to convert the Pictish tribes to Celtic Christianity. For me, as a Highlander, the history of this beautiful island is mysterious, extraordinary and significant. The island itself is a bridge between mainland Scotland and the smaller islands such as Ram, Cana, Eigg and the Hebrides archipelago. For some, it is the end of the world. For others, it is the gateway to the Arctic Sea. The history of this island was shaped over millions of years, when volcanoes carved out the mountain peaks and ice gently smoothed them. The island's past is linked to the Pictish tribes, whose traces can be seen on the obelisks with carved runes scattered throughout the island. Those tribes mixed with the Nordic warriors and the Scottish tribes from Ireland formed the Celtic peoples of that time. Behind me, you can see the river Snizort, which flows into the loch of the same name and surrounds this island. In front of me lies the holy island of St. Columba, whose history dates back to the time immemorial. Unfortunately, not much remains of the buildings that once formed the majestic monastic complex. I must admit that, seeing these trees growing from the middle of the ruins, I feel a strange energy flowing around this place. However, the pages of the book clearly state that this place played a very important role not only on the Isle of Skye, but also in a significant area of Scotland at that time. The island is called Elin Chile in Gaelic and housed a monastery complex which was the seat of the bishops between 1067 and 1498. And right here, just behind me, was the heart of the entire monastic complex. These two trees seems to have grown into the foundations of the tower and the bell tower of Snizort Cathedral, which are now in ruins. Unfortunately, the remains visible behind me are probably ruins from the 11th or 12th century. As far as we know, St. Columba arrived on the island from Iona around 575 AD. Please forgive me, but I might be wrong here and I cannot give you a correct date. He preached from the rock in this very island, and in later years he founded a church here, which unfortunately did not survive or was rebuilt into a cathedral called Skybus Cathedral. It cannot be ruled out that when he arrived here, this island was already a ritual center where shamans exercised their power. Therefore, I believe that the best practice was simply to rename it and build it a center of Christian Celtic power on this site. This is very interesting topic, therefore please visit this website to find out more on Highlander12.com. Check this out, I'm inside a burial chapel called Nicholson's Isle, which hides an amazing bas-relief. This effigy depicts a knight who is said to represent the chief Mac Nichol, who had a connections with King James V in 1540. The sculpture depicts a warrior in a tall conical helmet holding a sword pointed towards this feet. The history of this island is linked to the Nicholson's clan, and according to a tradition, 28 clan chiefs were buried here. Until 1992, this mysterious chapel was in a state of a total ruin, and the bas-relief was moved, lying in the chaos of the collapsed wall. During the cleaning and repair of the walls, elements of glasses and wine bottles were found in the ground, indicating the lavish and liquid farewell that befitted the leaders of the people. Indeed, this sculpture looks impressive when the warrior is buried with his own sword. Now, only the memory and the sign of the time in the form of lichen on the stone remain. I would like to travel back in time to see who he really was and why he ended up here. Rest in peace. Where are you, old book? Sometimes I feel like you disappearing, but the truth is that I forgot where I put it. But since I'm here, I'll check what the next pages say. And it turns out that this place is a medieval cemetery where the ancestors of the island's clan were buried. This place was and still is extremely important. The first mentions of the importance of this monastic center come from a Norwegian document from the 11th century. They refer to the bishopric of the lands of Skye, which was subject to the Archdiocese of Nidaros, or in other words, the Archdiocese of Trondheim. After the Battle of Largs in 1263, ties with Norway were broken, and in 1327 12 canons installed the bishops of Western Scotland on this island. At the height of the power of the lords of the islands at the bishopric of Skye, the controlled territory stretched from the west coast of Scotland and the western islands from Mull of Kintyre in the north to Inverness in the east. As you can see, the importance of the cathedral on the island of St. Columba was enormous. And to be honest, I would never have thought that it could be the seat of bishops of such an important area. This ancient monastic complex was also the seat of Waymond or Hammond, who was consecrated Bishop of Skye in New York in 1079. The only exception was the transfer of the bishopric to the Isle of Man for 62 years. According to information from Vatican, St. Columba's Island was the main seat of bishops of the Scottish Islands until 1498, when it was moved back to the Isle of Iona after a petition. The process was completed in 1540 and the cathedral was demolished after the Reformation, with the stone being used for the local construction. What a shame. At the end of this short trip to this mysterious and forgotten island, I would like to show you a second sculpture in the form of the bas-relief. It's located in the central part of the island, just above the Snizor River. It is in much better condition than the one I showed you in Nicholson's Isle. The slab is carved with the figure of Gallowglass, means a mercenary warrior, wearing a kilted jacket and holding a large sword. As we know, this gravestone dates back to the 16th century and is believed to have been carved by the same person who carved the statue of John MacLeod of Meningnish, the 10th chief of the MacLeod clan of Harris, located in the St. Clement's Church in Rodel on the island of Harris. Another similar slab can be found within the walls of the chapel. Let me just find the camera and in this grass, and I'll show you what it looks like from above. Okay, as you can see, just look at the incredible quality of the workmanship, which has survived for 600 years. Just check out what it looks like and what that island might have looked like in all its glory 1,000 years ago. Highlander is already moving on because a long journey awaits through the hills and valleys.